warmer. We were able to get out and do some street work. Wanted to just mention a couple, probably the one that maybe most folks are aware of in the area where we're doing a lot of redevelopment near the Sunset area, Highlands Library. We're doing a lot of work there to accommodate a stormwater facility, and so there's several streets, Northeast 10th, Harrington, Sunset Terrace, and some others are going to be closed intermittently, so folks just need to be aware of that. Tomorrow will be, there's some, Logan Avenue, there'll be an intermittent lane closure there as we replace pedestrian signal poles. And on Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be in the intersection of Northeast 4th and Duval for some signal light conduit repair, so people just need to be aware of that. On Wednesday through Friday, weather permitting, we'll be doing some lane closures along Benson Road between I-405 and State Route 515 so we can complete a paving project. We have a signal up there, a sign up there right now reminding people of that. But we want to let folks know, if you have any other information or questions, you can contact us on our website and or call City Hall and we'll let you know what we're up to. Thanks all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I know that there on Lake Washington Boulevard at Coulon Park, the new signal is blinking, and you had sent out a memo, I believe, saying that it would be for about a month.
Yeah, and I'm not
Blinking?
sure, Chip, do you by chance have any idea when
And
that's?
then what happens after it quits blinking?
Well, it'll be an activated traffic light.
So then it'll be activated
be-
when people come out of Southport.
Yeah, well, it'll be green for north and south on Lake Washington Boulevard until something activates it to stop it. I believe we're waiting for BNSF to do some final checkoffs in order to be able to activate the light. Is that,
So far, it seems to be working
Yeah.
great.
Yes, Chip Vincent for the record, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Palmer. There needs to be synchronization between the lights and the BNSF arms that are going to come down, and it's going to take about a month, I understand, for all that to be synced up and work collectively as one electronic system.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
betcha. Okay, we don't have anybody sign up for audience comments, so moving on to the consent agenda, we have 5 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
seeing none, I move we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Corman, that council approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Person,
Well, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 reports.
okay?
Okay, Finance Committee report. Approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on June 1st, 2015, claims vouchers 338429 through 338733, 4 wire transfers and 1 payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $5,056,693.48, and payroll vouchers including 720 direct deposits and 71 payroll checks totaling $1,590,612.30. This is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
this voucher run is the shortest voucher run I think I've ever had. We had 71 pages, and we were usually up over 200, so we still had questions, so.
I'm proud of you.
With that, I move the council approve the concurrent recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Corman, that council approve the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the final Finance Committee report, Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park Tile Rehabilitation Project. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to award the construction contract for the Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park Tile Rehabilitation Project as advertised through the Daily Journal of Commerce to Road Construction Northwest Incorporated in the amount of $498,170.25 and to transfer $69,831.19 from the Coulon Park Lighting Repairs Fund to complete the project. The committee further recommends that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the contract. This is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
this is a project that is been coming along for 30 years. It's the original pavers down on the, around Ivers and Kid Valley, and they have been kept in good repair, but just because of the trees and everything that's happening. And I just want to let the public know that we don't get to pick the time of the year when we make the repairs. It's done by the fisheries and a whole lot of other people. So there will be some inconvenience for this, because it has to be done out of the fish window. And when it's done, you are going to be absolutely awed with the plans that they have, and so they'll never, ever have to happen again, we hope. So with that, I move the council concur in the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Hey,
Corman.
Can I get a reminder? I know that I was briefed on this, but what kind of material we're going to use instead of those pavers?
They're going to take all the pavers out, and people have asked if they could maybe get some of the pavers, but because the work window is so short, the contractor has to come in and just scoop them up and get them out of there. And they're going to take down the level and get rid of some of the old material and fill in with new. And then they're going to pour concrete, a stamped concrete, so it'll look like the pavers were put back.
It'll be smooth.
But it'll be smooth, and it'll really, really be nice when it's done. And staff has done a lot of work on coordinating this.
Very nice.
These things are not easy.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, well, let's do it after September, but somebody said no, and it wasn't us.
Good. All right, great. Great news.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Palmer.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Taylor.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Pavoni.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
And Ms. Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to resolutions and ordinances. We have one ordinance for second and final reading.
Okay, the ordinance is regarding the critical areas regulations. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 132 of Chapter 3, Remedies and Penalties of Title I Administrative, Sections 4350 and 43120 of Chapter 3, Environmental Regulations and Overlay Districts, Section 48120 of Chapter 8, Permits General and Appeals, Section 49250 of Chapter 9, Permits Specific, and Sections 41140, 411-190, and 411-230 of Chapter 11, Definitions of Title IV Development Regulations of City Code by updating the city's critical areas regulations, including repealing the current language in 43050 and adopting new language, revising certain definitions, and making certain violations of Title IV civil infractions.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this ordinance be adopted as read. Requires a roll call.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Ms. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Ayes have it. Thank you very much, Jason. Moving on to new business, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So today, immediately following the council meeting, we have an executive session in the council conference room regarding property acquisition to take approximately 20 minutes. And then Monday, June 8th at 6 p.m., we have committee of the whole. We have two items, Metro Long Range Plan and Committee to End Homelessness Briefing. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Person.
No new business.
Okay, Ms. Palmer.
No new business.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I need to announce that on June 8th, 3 o'clock p.m., we're going to have a Planning and Development Committee meeting. Just one item on that agenda, and that's the Tiffany Park appeal.
Okay,
And that's in council chambers. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. Mr. Warren, did you want to just make some reminders on that appeal?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just for the council's recollection of how the ordinance is set up, the appeal is from a hearing examiner's decision, and the council's review at the meeting is not a public hearing. The appellant and the applicant each get to argue their side of the case, but no new or additional testimony shall be received by the city council. The council is limited to the record that was produced before the hearing examiner. The burden of proof will be on the appellant in the case. The items to be considered by the council are limited to the notice of appeal, simply those items that were appealed. And in order to reverse the hearing examiner's decision in any fashion, the council has to find a substantial error in fact or law. And if you find a substantial error in fact or law, you have to rewrite the finding or conclusion that the examiner made. So you have to hone in on where the error was. And the way the matter is handled, of course, is it's referred to planning and development to conduct the arguments and then make a recommendation to the council as a whole. And the council the council will take final action on the matter, and the only other appeal beyond the council is on to Superior Court on what is called a Land Use Petition Act complaint. So that's a brief review, but the real thing I would hone in on in that is limited to the record before the hearing examiner, substantial error of fact or law. One other thing I should mention is that once the matter has been appealed before the council, there should be no ex parte communication, no communications outside the scope of the hearing it's not a hearing, I should not say that, but meeting before the Planning and Development Committee. And one other thing is that the way things are set up so that we can't have new testimony, the matter would be on the start of the agenda next week if, in fact, the committee had come forth with a decision and there's sufficient time to get the decision written up before the council meeting. It would come on as an early item before audience comments, so somebody couldn't pop up on our open mic and then suddenly start giving new testimony, which could be kind of awkward. So that's just a brief rundown.
Okay, thank you,
And
Larry.
if anyone has a question about it, call me, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, the Utility Committee meeting that would normally be scheduled for June 8th will be canceled, and that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Pavoni?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and Ms. Perez?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Community Service Committee that would have been scheduled for June 8th will be also canceled.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Audience comment? Was there anybody that wanted to address the council? Poor Howard, everybody's looking at Howard. Mr. Prince?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move the council meeting recess into executive session for approximately 20 minutes to discuss property acquisition, with no official action to be taken, and that the council meeting be adjourned when the executive session is adjourned.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Corman, that council recess into executive session to discuss potential property acquisition. It's going to take about 20 minutes. There will be no action taken, and the meeting will be adjourned following the executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're in executive
Recess.
session.